Today we're going to talk about HSAs, otherwise known as health savings accounts. An HSA can help you manage your healthcare expenses, and if you're a younger person in your 20s or 30s or 40s, this is one of the most overlooked ways to take advantage of saving tax-free. So by the end of this video, we're going to give you 6 key factors to help you decide on whether an HSA is right for you. Number 1, you must be enrolled in an HDHP. Now that stands for a high deductible health plan. Number 2, retirement healthcare savings. Number 3, control and flexibility of your money. Number 4, investment options in the HSA. Number 5, we are going to talk about some of the drawbacks for an HSA. And number 6, and this is the absolute superpower of an HSA if you're a younger person or even if you're a little bit older, is HSAs are triple taxed advantage. Let me say that again. They are triple taxed advantage. The government does not give us any better way to save than these plans right here. So let's jump into it and see how an HSA can help you and your healthcare savings. So our first point is you must be enrolled in a high deductible healthcare plan. Now, you really want to think of this plan as a safety net for your healthcare, meaning, for lack of a better term, if you get hit by a bus or something acute happens where you need surgery or it's just an emergency, you're going to be covered. You're going to want to use your health savings account for 2 reasons. One, to help manage your day-to-day health care. For example, if you had to go to a PT or you needed to buy some medical equipment or just help pay with your premiums, you can do that. And then you also use the HSA to save for your health care in case you do have that hit by a bus situation. Now, there's one thing you really want to check with either your employer or your plan to make sure once you hit that deductible that your plan is going to cover you at 100%. You really need to take into consideration all the financial obligations before you make that decision of getting an HSA versus a traditional lower deductible plan. Key point number 2 is retirement healthcare savings. An HSA can be used to help pay for your health care while you're in retirement. It's a great way to not get hit by a huge bill that you weren't expecting. And hopefully you've done it long enough where the money has been accumulating tax-free. Now remember, this is extremely important. Once you decide to go on Medicare, and it's usually at the age of 65 or older, you can no longer contribute into your HSA, but you can certainly still use your HSA for qualified medical expenses. And the IRS actually will spell out what qualified medical expenses are. You can look at the IRS website and search for publication 502. Now, we'll drop a link down in the description box below where you can go right to that page and check out what your qualified medical expenses are. It covers a wide variety of things, but you just want to make sure what you're using it for is covered. So use that HSA to accumulate a tax-free savings to use when you're in retirement, because we all know once you get older, your medical bills probably are going to go higher. Key point number 3 of the HSA is control and flexibility. And this is a great part of the HSA as well. If you change your jobs or you decide to go on a lower healthcare plan with a smaller deductible, maybe you're starting a family and you're worried about the deductible, or maybe just meeting the deductible could be a challenge at times, that HSA goes with you. You do not lose it. So you can keep those funds for immediate healthcare needs or keep them growing tax-free to save for your healthcare retirement. Now, after the age of 65, the IRS says, just like in a regular IRA, you can take the money out of your HSA and use it for whatever you want. You're just going to pay the standard tax. Now, before the age of 65, and this is one of the things that's not great about the HSA, if you get in a situation where you need to take the money out for non-qualified medical expenses, if you get in an emergency, they are going to charge you the tax, and they are going to charge you a 20% penalty. So please be careful with that, because that is actually pretty burdensome to save that money and then pay essentially a double tax on it when it comes out. Key point number 4 of the HSA is your investment options. This is a very nice feature of the HSA. It lets you invest in a wide variety of things. For example, you could do stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, index funds. Just make sure you check with your plan administrator to see before you sign up what you can and can't do. And then if you're not comfortable investing your own money, you can use a financial planner. For example, Fidelity has a great HSA program. We're not sponsored by Fidelity. I do know from personal experience they have a great one. So check that out. And then there's also HSA Bank, which is a little bit more limiting, but still lets you do some stuff. Just for context, if you were just to do an index fund, if you know what that is, I believe over the last 100 years, the return on an index fund is I believe 8%. So that's a really nice return, especially if that money's going to sit there for 10 or 15 years without needing it. Quick reminder, if you find the video helpful, please subscribe to our channel or think about giving us a like. It's a simple, free way to support us, and it helps us create content for you. Also, you can purchase the products featured in the video directly from our YouTube store. Now let's get back to the review. Key point number 5, I want to talk about some of the drawbacks of an HSA, just to be frank, so you guys out there know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So the first thing we want to talk about there are contribution limits for an HSA, and the IRS updates this every year. So for 2024, if you're an individual person on a high deductible plan, you can contribute $4,150. If you're a family, you can contribute up to $8,300. And a bonus if you're over 55, which, that's not really a great bonus. You'd rather be under 55, but you get to contribute an extra $1,000 to the plan. Now, these limits, like I said, are subject to change, and we're going to drop a link down in the description box below where you can find what the contribution limits are. It's publication 969 if you're interested, but just click on the link and go check out the limits, especially because 2025 is coming up since we're shooting this video. The second point of this is you want to make sure you join a company or an administrator, if you have a choice, that charges low custodial fees. You do not want to be paying high fees for somebody to administer this plan, because that's just going to eat away at your savings. Now, the other thing that should be self-explanatory, but maybe not, is you have to be able to pay that high deductible in case something happens, because you are on a high deductible plan, and if there is an unfortunate accident or an acute situation, you need to be able to pay that deductible. So keep that in mind that, cash flow is important. You don't want to get an HSA and then not be able to pay your deductible if something happens. And then the last point I want to make about the drawbacks is for HSA to work well, you have to be disciplined and you have to contribute to it every year and contribute to it as much as possible and hopefully max it out if you can. But the more you do it, the more it grows over time. It's tax-free. I think in 10 or 15 years, if you're able to save that money and get a return on it, it is a wonderful thing to do. But just remember those few things. They can creep up, and you don't want to be caught in a situation where you don't have the money to pay for your deductible. Now, this is great if you're young and healthy or just healthy, because most people that are healthy don't need to use their health plan, and they can take advantage of the HSA, but just be able to pay that deductible if you get caught, like I said earlier, in a hit by a bus situation. Key point number 6, and this is what's really exciting about the HSA, is the HSA is triple taxed advantage. I really hope the younger people in the audience hung around for this, because if you're young and healthy, you can save a ton of money and use the IRS rules to help you save money over time. So what we mean by triple taxed advantage is when you put money or contribute to your HSA, just like in an IRA, it lowers your taxable income right away. So your tax bill is lower. You can usually contribute to your HSA through payroll deductions. And now if you're not doing it through your employer and you're doing it through another plan, you can do it on your taxes at the end of the year. So the second way it's triple taxed advantages, the money will grow tax-free over time. So if you're in stocks, bonds, or an index fund like I mentioned earlier on the S&P 500, that money will grow over time and you do not have to pay taxes on it. So the time value of money is amazing. So the more money you contribute when you're 20 and 30 years old will have time to grow, and it'll be substantially more growth than if you contribute when you're in your 50s. So the HSA is just like the IRA in that it lowers your taxable income, and in an IRA, when you're 65, you can take the money out and you only pay taxes on it. Well, the HSA says the same thing. It says at 65, you can withdraw your money, and the only thing you owe on it is the taxes on the money. So where the triple tax advantage comes in is the third thing is in the HSA, if you use it for qualified medical expenses, you don't pay taxes on any of the withdrawals. And we all know after 65, we're probably going to have much more healthcare expense than we do when we're in our 20s and 30s. So that's how it's triple tax advantage. It lowers your gross income. It compounds over time tax-free, and then you can withdraw it tax-free if you're using it for healthcare. And if you're not using it for healthcare, you just pay the taxes on the money, just like an IRA. So it is a great way to save money. Now, younger people will say, hey, I should get a Roth, but Roth is not triple tax advantage because Roth is after-tax money that you contribute. So there is a difference there. So the HSA is so powerful. It gives you more options than any other savings account that the IRS allows us. I have to admit, my wife mentioned this probably 2, 3, or 4 years ago, and we're a little bit older, and I didn't know much about it and wasn't paying attention. And once I figured it out, we have an HSA now, and I was just stupid. So please don't be like me. Go ahead, get that HSA, take advantage of the situation. So now that you know about your HSA and how it works, go ahead, click on our next video, and we're going to talk about the FSA plan. And as we always like to say around here, let's get back to living.